Anna from Bartlett Gardens, and today we're going to plant a pear tree. This tree here was leftover stock after we closed the nursery for the summer, so he's a little worse for wear and he really wants to get out of this pot. This tree, however, is a very unique tree. It is a combination pear tree, and what that means is there's actually 4 different types of pears all grafted onto the same tree, which means not only is this tree self-pollinating, but it can actually cross-pollinate with other varieties all on the same trunk. This tree right here has a Bartlett pear, a red Bartlett pear, Bosc pear, and Comey's pear. And I'm so excited because as a family, we cook a lot with pears and eat a lot with pears. So it's really exciting to have a variety right here in our own backyard. This space that we're going to be planting in today is on the south side of our yard, and this is actually an area that we've for the most part totally ignored for years, and we are just now getting to clearing out some of the old brush, taking out some of the older shrubs and replacing them with things like our fruit tree. We've got a couple fruit bushes coming in too, so we're really excited to make this side of our yard into more of our edible garden space. In the area behind me right here, I took out an old spirea bush that was absolutely massive. It wasn't producing well, and it had also been covered with a weed fabric over that area, so the soil isn't as rich as it is in some other areas of our yard. I've got a special soil mix that I will walk you through how I make it and why I put the ingredients in that I added. Outside of my custom soil blend, I've also got a bag of this organic garden soil. This is the Black Gold brand, but any organic garden soil will do. You'll need a full-size shovel, a bag of fertilizer. This specific fertilizer is Tree Tone, and I'll go through a little bit more about why I love this brand and this specific fertilizer for our fruit trees. And lastly, as a weed prevention, we'll add a little bit of plain wet cardboard and top it with some of this organic cedar mulch. As I mentioned before, I did take a large spirea bush right out of this area, so there is already a little bit of a hole started, but I want to go ahead and dig a hole that's only slightly deeper than the container my pear tree is currently seated in and twice as wide. Since this used to also be home to a very large bush, I'm going to be looking at any root mass that I can find in there and make sure I pull out as much debris as I can. My hole is just about at the depth that I want it, which is just a couple inches deeper than the container that this plant comes in. The reason for that is we really want to make sure that we're actually keeping these roots right up towards the surface of the soil. If you bury the roots of a pear tree too deep, then they will struggle to get oxygen and the tree just won't thrive like it would if the roots were closer to the surface. I'm going to go ahead and flatten out the surface at the bottom of the hole just so my tree can sit level at the bottom of this hole. Next, grab your plant, gently prop it up against your knee, and slowly pull the container off the base of the plant. You're going to gently set the plant down in the hole, and like I said, make sure that it looks like it's sitting level, otherwise your tree will grow a little bit crooked. I'm taking off just the top layer of dirt here so I can find the very top of the root ball, and it looks like it is right here, which means I want the surface of the soil to go just about an inch above that and definitely no more than that. From here, I'm going to go ahead and fill up this hole with a 50-50 mixture of half garden soil and half of my special mixture. Now, what I put in my special mixture this time around is catered for pear trees specifically. Pear trees like a sandy, loamy soil that drains really well. So I started this mixture with a blend of coco coir and perlite to help with drainage, and I also added in a little bit of sand here from the backyard to also assist with drainage. Because this area behind me was covered with a weed fabric, I did add a lot of organic material to this batch as well, including compost, worm castings, as well as some decomposed mulch. My hope is to go ahead and enrich this soil again. It's been prevented from having debris break down into the soil over the past several years, which has depleted the nutritional value of the soil. So my goal is to add that back in with some of this decomposed organic material. I'm going to start with just a few scoops of each, blending it up in the hole as I go. I also have this little mini shovel that we've used for various things around the yard, but I have to say when it comes to planting, having a short shovel is so immensely helpful in order to stir things in the hole and also to add materials back into the hole that you're planting in. I smoothed out the top of my hole just to make sure that all of the soil was level with the surface of the soil of the hole that I inserted. I smoothed out the surface of my hole just to make sure that all of the soil was level around the tree. My next step is going to be to add a layer of fertilizer. This specific fertilizer is my all-time favorite brand. It's Espoma Organics. I use it in a wide variety of options for all of the plants in my backyard. It's a completely organic granular fertilizer, and I just seem to work really well with granular fertilizers. It's a lot harder to burn the plant when it's a slow release mechanism like a granular fertilizer. This particular fertilizer is Tree Tone. It's a specific formula for fruit trees, so this is going to be perfect for my pear tree. This fertilizer is slightly acidic, as most fruit trees prefer. This is a 6-3-2 fertilizer, which means 6% nitrogen, 3% phosphate, and 2% potassium. This blend does exceptionally well for stone fruits and citrus fruits. I highly recommend it. Now, for a tree of this size, and they usually go by trunk diameter of under 2 inches, we really only need about 2 pounds per inch, so I'm going to use about half this bag and spread it evenly around the surface of the soil, but I want to make sure I'm maintaining a 2 to 3 inch gap between the trunk and where my line of fertilizer goes. The contact can cause a burn to the trunk, so you just want to allow it a little bit of space to breathe. Once I have it over the surface of the soil, I'm just going to go ahead and smooth it out with my hand. I'm really not working it into the soil. I just want to make sure there aren't any really heavy deposits of a thick layer of it. I want to have that all evenly spread around the plant. My final step is to add my weed protection and of course top it with my organic mulch over there. Anytime I'm looking for a weed prevention system, I'm definitely looking for something that is not permanent. Weed fabric is a really common tool used by a lot of gardeners. For me personally, I don't like it at all. It really prevents a lot of organic material from breaking down into the soil and causes poor soil condition in as little as just 2 to 3 seasons. I like to use a different type of barrier. This is just plain cardboard. It's not laminated and has no plastic tape on it. So my goal for this is I'm going to rip it up into pieces and use it as if it's a weed fabric, but this will break down in 1 to 2 seasons, and it actually adds organic material back into the soil instead of preventing it from breaking down. Now that I have my cardboard in place, I'm going to go ahead and cover it with a 1 to 2 inch layer of this organic cedar mulch. Anytime you're working with a plant that produces food for you or your family, make sure you don't mulch the plant with a dyed mulch. We just don't know exactly what ingredients are in the dyes, and the organic mulch will break down much quicker. Once you have the mulch completely covering the cardboard that you've laid down, your plant is officially planted and ready to grow. It's 90 degrees out today in northern Michigan, and we expect this hot weather to stick around for quite some time. So I'm going to make sure that I'm watering this guy daily, sometimes twice a day, just to make sure that those roots have a great chance of getting well established before the first frost starts this fall. Like most fruit trees, I can't expect any fruit out of this guy for at least the first couple seasons. I'll pinch back any flowers that do start to appear so we can drive more of those nutrients back down to the roots of the plant. It's midsummer right now. I fertilized my tree today, and I'm going to fertilize it 2 more times before this fall. I'll fertilize again in 4 to 6 weeks and one last time before the plant falls dormant. Once you see those leaves fall off and the plant enters into dormancy, you'll want to stop all fertilization. If you fertilize the plant when it's dormant, there is a chance that you can burn the roots. I'll do another video this fall so I can show you just how much growth we've had over the past few months, and I'm also going to introduce you into how I do some basic pruning, especially in some of my younger, freshly planted trees. If you have any questions or comments on growing pear trees or fruit trees in general, please leave them in the comments below. I love opening up discussions about different types of fruit trees because I think everyone has their own techniques for growing these plants, and it's awesome when you can come together and share those ideas. If you like watching content like this and enjoy learning more about different types of plants, please take the time to subscribe to our channel. It really helps out small businesses like ours. Thanks so much for tuning in, and as always, I hope to catch you next time.